linked to Litvinenko and his alleged killer. Property tycoon Christian Candy's key advisor was a director of a detective agency which made payments to the Russian dissident Alexander Litvinenko, and to the former KGB officer accused of murdering him. Details of the transfers to alleged killer Andrei Lugovoy to Litvinenko, who died in 2006 after swallowing a radioactive substance called polonium-210, were given during a high court trial. Candy and his brother are defending charges that they used blackmail and intimidation to extort repayment of a loan. The case against the billionaire property developers is being brought by their former business associate, Mark Holyoke. Stephen Smith, a founding director of Christian Candy's property group, was cross-examined on Thursday about his involvement with the London-based investigations agency Risk Management. He was a director from the firm's incorporation until 2013. In a wide-ranging testimony, Smith told of his close relationship with Risk chief executive Keith Hunter. The detective had traveled to France on arranged protection for Smith and his family after a violent robbery. The court has heard how Smith, who now walks with a stick, jumped out of a first-floor window and broke his spine to escape attackers. Smith explained how he had stood by Hunter after the private detective was arrested on suspicion of police bribery in 2012. He also recalled Risk's dealings with Litvinenko. Smith had arrived at Risk's offices for a directors' meeting 2 days after the Russian had ingested poison while drinking tea at a London hotel. The boardroom had been secured by police because traces of the substance had been left during Litvinenko's visit to Risk. The whole of the upper floor was cordoned off with radioactive yellow and black paper everywhere, said Smith. So obviously I asked the question, why is our boardroom radioactive? And they told me that Mr. Litvinenko had visited the office on the day he was poisoned. A British judge found last year that Lugovoy and another agent had poisoned Litvinenko. During the inquiry, it was revealed that Risk had made payments to Lugovoy and Litvinenko. These included a £1,000 starter fee and a £7,500 transfer to a Cyprus bank account belonging to Lugovoy. Smith said he was unaware of the payments at the time but agreed he knew the men had undertaken work for Risk. Its clients included Boris Berezovsky and other oligarchs who had fallen out with Russia's president, Vladimir Putin. I did ask and they said he was there for a meeting and supplying information, Smith told the court. If you remember, Mr. Litvinenko was very much an anti-Putin individual and was quite high-profile in anti-Putin circles. Holyoke, who borrowed £12 million from Christian Candy for a property deal, alleges that in 2012 he was threatened during a phone call with Christian's brother, Nick Candy. Nick is alleged to have said his brother would sell the loan to Russian debt collectors who would not think twice about seriously fucking hurting you. The Candys deny the charges, as does Smith, who was also a defendant in the case. Holyoke's QC Roger Stewart sought to paint a picture of Risk as a firm with a questionable reputation. Risk and another firm set up by one of its employees were hired for numerous jobs by CPC Group. The firm made checks on all the potential purchasers of the 80-odd apartments at 1 Hyde Park, the Cannes' flagship super-luxury development in London's Knightsbridge district. Former Risk Managing Director Cliff Nucky was asked to serve court papers on one of the purchasers, with whom CPC was in dispute. During this episode, Nucky was found to have impersonated a representative of the Saudi royal family, an estate agent, and a member of Vodafone Customer Services, Stewart told the court. Christian Candy has also told the court he asked Nucky for advice on who could help recover Holyoke's debt. Addressing Smith, the QC claimed, "The fact that you were prepared to use Mr. Nucky despite knowledge of his methods shows that you were not concerned whether he operated legally or illegally." Smith replied, "Absolutely not." Nucky and his former colleague at Risk, Keith Hunter, were arrested in May 2012 on suspicion of police bribery. Risk offices were searched by police. All charges were later dropped.